everybody. Welcome to the next episode of D4C Connects. Could not be more excited to be back with you guys today, and I could not be more excited than to be sitting here with Dr. Sam Kwon. Dr. Kwon is a dentist that we support proudly here in Georgia. We affiliated, maybe about a year ago, and I couldn't be more excited to chat with you today.
Yeah, and just great to be here.
Oh, thank you.
Great to be here.
I know that you had a lot of podcast options, and you chose to come do D4C Connect. So
we had one with Joe Rogan.
Yeah,
earlier.
You made the wrong choice. But, it is great to talk to you. So, Dr. Kwon, maybe just super high level to kind of introduce yourself to the followers of D4C Connects, the listeners, the viewers.
Sure.
Maybe a little bit about kind of who you are and your practice, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay. Well, I'm from the Atlanta area. And so I went to high school over here in Norcross. So we went to Meadow Creek High School. So I'm very local, and ended up there to Georgia, and then went to MCG. So
Georgia throughout.
Yeah. I don't think I fit in anywhere else. Okay, but yeah, Georgia, and I'm Korean. And kind of grew up in the kind of first generation immigration days. And my parents immigrated to Atlanta, and they owned businesses, So all my life, I was around businesses. My dad had like a grocery store, typical, first generation survival mode type of businesses. And so I was around that. And I will I'll tell you the first time that I was introduced to dentistry about that. And that's kind of where the journey initially began. And it was almost like a little miracle in my eyes, because the way I grew up, I didn't have friends that were professionals. There was no doctors, no dentists, no lawyers. Everybody was just immigrants, and the businesses that we were around were not white collar businesses. Well, come right around 16, my mom was like, she wanted to get this one little canine kind of fixed up, and she suggested why don't you braces. And the guy was such a nice guy, Dr. Borber, and he was just like, oh no, Sam, I can fix it. You don't have to do surgery, And so when you're young, kids they can sense who's good or not.
Yeah, of course.
And so we ended up going with him.
Yeah.
And so how ortho is, you kind of have to go like once a month.
Of course. Yep.
And every time I went, I was just kind of like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, because, I've grown up in the like grocery store, it's just, that type of, business. It's like, real hard.
Yeah.
And I remember, as I was getting treated, just watching him.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a great job he has.
Yeah.
Because all he was doing, no offense to any orthos, but he was just doing nothing, but just like, just instructing a little bit, just walking around, just, being nice.
Yep.
And I remember he was always dressed real sharp. I'm just being honest, he was always just dressed real sharp, always had like this really nice watch on. And the guy, he flew helicopters for a hobby. And I just remember, if you like did something with your ortho and all your stuff was clean, you could win a ride on this helicopter.
Yeah.
And so this is when I was like 16 or something like that. And one day I was like, Dr. Gorber, he was just the nicest guy. You could just sense that.
Yeah.
I said, Dr. Gorber, I was like, and this, I was like, what do I need to do to be this?
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was.
Very interesting. Yeah.
It wasn't nothing else.
Yeah.
Except that man.
Yeah.
And I just said, you know what? I was like, I've never said this is nice.
It almost seems like when I think about your practices and the offices that you have, and this is just me, have pulled on all of these stories to build the practices you have, right? Local, right? I heard you talk about local and how tied to the community you need to be. I heard you say the friendly environment and the welcoming environment, the way that you treat patients, where they feel comfortable with you and the conversations you have with them, and the way you treat your doctors and your staff, Dr. Kwon. One of the things that really impressed me was the very first time I was ever in one of your offices, we were talking to the team, kind of telling about the affiliation. The care that you had for them and you goes such a long way. And it's almost like maybe that conversation with the dentist you had fixing your tooth at Georgia, you said, wow, this guy's pretty cold and kind of curmudgeon-y. That's not really the way that I want to be, nor do I want my associate dentist to feel that way, right? I want the associate dentist to feel welcomed, part of it, excited. And so how did you build that culture? How have you pulled those components in?
I think it's just, I think the culture of Kwon starts with me. Or starts with the doctor.
Sure.
And, if you grew up that way, right? I didn't grow up with a silver spoon, and I grew up in that, immigration environment, probably low socioeconomic, and that's how I grew up, and in a sense, that's who I am, and that's who I connect with. That's my, that's what and so even when I, opened up practice, like I understand my patients, regardless if I go to any of my offices, we see, state insurance and things like that. I think the way I feel, because that's where I grew up, and because I understand, I have a heart for it, and I can connect with them, and I think that's kind of what translated that is because even though our practices see all insurances, everybody gets treated the same. It doesn't matter, wherever you are. So I set up my business that even the state insurance, gets the same treatment, the same quality. And I think as the leader, the way you love these patients and the way you understand and not judge or whatever, then everybody sees that this is the standard that we have to do. Because if Dr. Kwon is doing that and talking to these patients that way, and and knowing how to and to treat them well, whereas maybe some other places they may not, they see that, and that's the standard that is established.
And how did that translate? At some point you had your practice, it was very successful, and you started thinking about, okay, maybe getting some additional support in, partnering with a dental support organization. Tell me about that process, and in particular, I imagine there was some culture matching you were trying to do.
I think what I love Kwon Pediatric Dentistry. It's my baby. Okay. And it was a lot of hard work.
Sure.
But I think, now you got to remember, I don't have an MBA. I'm a dentist, you know. And there's a lot that nobody teaches you business.
Yeah.
You know, nobody teaches you organization. You know, I mean, I literally started with me and one other person. And in all honesty, you know, it just kind of organically became what it is.
Yeah.
I'm not, you know, I just trusted my people.
Yeah.
And I leaned on anybody, you know, I leaned on their expertise.
Yeah.
You know, but I think we've gotten so blessed and so like busy.
Yeah.
To when I affiliated, we were, you know, like 9 doctors.
5 offices?
Yeah, well, 5 locations.
Yeah.
5 locations and things like that.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it got to the point where I felt like it needed to go to the next level, in all honesty. Like next level of organization, systems and protocols, because I was just, you know, I was just doing the best I can. You know, and all I was focusing on was just patient care. You know, but at the same time, I was managing all the stuff. So it became, I mean, it's not even became, it's from, I mean, for a long time. It was a lot. You know, because I was still seeing patients 4 days a week. And I never, you know, I had to be on the floor. And, you know, and so the thought of that is, okay, I need, you know, I have a big, you know, I have a pretty big office for one person, you know, and I needed support, you know.
But I imagine you didn't want to lose what made your business special, which is everything we talked about in the first half of this podcast, right? The care for patients, the payer agnostic approach, those sorts of things.
That's right.
Did you, I assume that was part of your calculation when you were talking with us and probably others.
That's right. Is I kind of wanted the best of both worlds, you know, where I don't want the culture. I don't want patient care. I didn't want, you know, that feel, you know,
to be impacted.
To, you know, because I had, you know, worked so hard. And not to mention, it says Kwon Dentistry on it.
Your name's on the
my name is on the door. And so I was like, you know what, I'm relatively young, you know, still. I don't want to, I'm not, you know, I don't want to, I'm not, you know. And so I just wanted to find, you know, the right partner. That could take all that stuff. That business stuff, HR, all that stuff that used to distract me from just patient care, doctor mentoring, you know, and those type of things. And let me just do clinical care. And let, you know, somebody else handle the, you know, all the other stuff. You know. And so that's, you know, that was the thought. It wasn't an easy thought. You know, matter of fact, I entertained it for years.
Interesting.
I did. And I got, you know, I had a lot of people approach me. Pre-COVID.
Interesting.
You know, and I, you know, I decided to go with another, you know, company. This is pre-COVID. Very tentative about that decision because, you know, it's like, this is your heart and soul.
Of course.
You know, and so you want to make sure that you got the right partner, the right team. And literally from first conversation to day of closing was probably almost like 2 years. 2 years. So I was like, I wasn't ready. Or I was very slow and I wanted to make sure.
Interesting.
You know, and things are, I guess it's meant to be,
Yeah.
because the day I signed the LOI, right?
With us or the
Other company, because it's pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Okay, after 2 years, Amy, okay, of just like, what about this? What about that? After 2 years, I signed the LOI, and I go, okay, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
1 week later, this something from China, and all, how quickly COVID, how quickly it was like, it was something, one case, whatever, and then all of a sudden, 1 week later, right, closed down.
Yeah.
And that kind of disrupted everything.
Yeah, sure.
And, we kind of try to go push through it.
Yeah.
But something, whatever reason, we were like, we decided to back out. So deals on, it didn't work out.
Yeah.
But, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
So, and so then I was like, let me just keep doing what I was doing.
Yeah.
I had Athens.
On the new office.
Just teed up, getting ready to go. And then, as we started doing that, I started to, get a lot more inquiries all at one point.
Yeah. And what made D4C rise to the top of that list?
Well,
keep it clean for the kids.
I mean, D4C, I felt like, number one, we're local. So I knew D4C was in the area. I thought, as I was talking to the team, the D4C team, at the end of the day, I felt like they were more in line with helping me in understanding my issues, because we're local. We have the same, setup, same patient base, same IV sedation. We're still dealing with the same CMOs. And I liked that it was pedo based. Because I felt like they understood pedo better than some of these other companies that were general for everything.
Sure.
And that's, I just kind of felt like the philosophies lined up, and that the support would probably be the best. And I just felt like, and things were a lot different with D4C, with the other company. When I connected with the D4C team, everything was just easy, and everything just kind of fell into place, and I felt like y'all understood my needs and what I needed to, because I still have this vision of what I want to do with Kwon Pediatric Dentistry. And I felt like D4C, as being pediatric, understood it right away. Like everything that I thought you guys already done, and I was like, well, they understand it. They understand the transition, because I'm a pediatric dentist. Sure. We have a lot of patients. It always made business sense for me to add ortho to, our, but I was never interested because I was way too busy. But it makes business sense. Because I have all these patients that have all these ortho needs. I've always wanted to do that. But I never had the energy or the time to do that. And in talking with D4C, this is y'all's bread and butter. I mean, y'all know how to do this. And I felt like, oh, I'm going to be guided you know, with, you know, a company that is primarily PETA, that understands ortho and the connection between the two.
Yeah.
And that was a big part of
Sure.
it, you know, and just felt like, you know, that then I got to meet, you know, the corporate team, you know, like yourself.
Sorry. And you still chose to affiliate with us. That's good.
Yeah, but actually you helped the cause. Don't beat yourself up. No, you actually, you represented very well.
Thank you.
And, you know, I got to meet Chris Bode.
Sure. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Michael.
Yeah.
And that crew.
Yeah.
That reinforced like, okay, this is the core.
Yeah.
And so this is this core right here is the heart of it. And so I felt really good about the core leadership of it.
Yeah.
And
well,
so,
and we learned a lot from you, Dr. Kwon. I mean, one of the cool things that you've done for us is you're part of the quality care team, and you came out to Texas not too long ago. We had a meeting out there with the other dentists, and I think, you know, having you be an active participant in helping, obviously, Kwon Dentistry, but being able to pull from that for the larger network is really valuable.
That meeting was very interesting too, just to see guys like myself. You know, from other areas of the, you know, of the country, you know, like out west and you know, Texas and Maryland. It was cool to meet those guys.
Good.
Can you talk about that a little bit more?
Sure.
The quality care.
So I'll talk about anything you want to talk about. I can go all day.
Just kind of explain what the quality
Sure,
care
of course,
team is, and then how you
no problem at all. Yeah. So high level, just for the folks at home, the quality care team is comprised of our supported doctor owners like Dr. Kwon and other pediatric dentists and orthodontist specialists from around the country. Many of those owners are former owners of their own practice who affiliated with D4C, similar to Dr. Kwon. And they drive the quality program of the organization. So quality metrics, quality initiatives, interpreting new AAPD and AAO guidelines and incorporating into practice. But one of the most interesting things, I'm curious to kind of get your thoughts, at least for me as a non-dentist, was some of the literature discussion that you guys did at the meeting and talking about some of the emerging kind of clinical studies that are out there and stuff like that. So I don't know. Curious.
No, I mean, it is good to be to have a group that is about the latest. You know, I think what happens sometimes is, you know, we get so busy, you know, we just kind of do our thing. But, you know, just how they introduce the latest techniques, you know, introduce, you know, how the new things that are out on the market and how these high quality practices operate their clinical care. And what happens is it just kind of opens your eyes up to think, oh, there's, you know, there are ways, and there's other ways, and you kind of collectively pick up on those things. And then you can take it back to your own practice, and then you can keep in touch with these guys. It was very good. And I enjoyed it.
Great. Well, now we're glad to have you out there. All right, so probably rounding 30 here on our time. Tell me your biggest surprise, right? So you built the practices, you're pre-gen in Georgia, you built these things up, you decided to affiliate, you chose D4C. Here we are.
Well, I don't know which one, you know, but I will say this. Every morning I get up, I thank God for D4C.
Oh, wow.
I do.
That's great.
Right. You know?
There's no teleprompter. There's no
and I wouldn't say that if I really didn't.
Oh, that's,
you know, because I'm very thankful for you guys. You know, it's just, you know, it takes time to learn how, you know, we operate.
Yeah, of course.
You know, but I think we're kind of getting through a lot of it, and you guys have great, you know, members, you know, that really, you know, initially you kind of have little differences,
Mhm.
but I think at the core of it, what made me say, I knew the intention
Mm.
of you guys, of D4C, even though it was different, but I knew the deep down bottom of your heart intention was they want me to succeed.
Mm.
And even though I do it differently and you guys do it differently, I knew that they're trying to get it right, get it better, work together. And once I saw that, it was easier for me, where I was like, you know what? The heart of the matter is good.
Yeah.
So I was like, I knew that the intention was good. We just kind of have to figure my way.
Sure.
And, and as we both kind of like are open, it works out. And then it's going so much like smoother. And every morning I'm like,
that's great to hear.
Thank you, Lord.
Well, and that's always the challenge, right? With the approach that we try and take towards affiliations, which is not a one size fits all. It is, okay, how do we help you maintain that culture?
I think that's right.
I
think that's right. I think my experience and just working with the D4C, trying to get us integrated, has been, you guys are open. Like, hey, Kwon operates a lot differently than everybody else. Let's try to figure it out. And I've heard that come out of the mouths of Chris and Meredith, and Brian, where they understand that it's not a one size fit all. And I didn't even know that I operated that differently.
Yeah.
I thought everybody operated like this, but obviously we operate differently because I keep on hearing it. But it's all good because we're still maintaining good quality of care. We're still growing. And we still have a lot of untapped potential. That's very exciting. So, and what I wanted out of this partnership, is what I'm experiencing.
That's great to hear.
Meaning like, I can just focus on dentistry. I don't have to focus on everything else, and even like growth, all the decisions that I had to make by my, just the time that it took to grow and plan out and all the details. We just kind of, you have a team and they get your vision and they understand how I like it, and then they do it, and then they say, what you think? And if I don't like it, so very, very, very good experience.
That's great.
Very good experience. Very good experience.
Wow. Well, I can't think of a better place to end the podcast episode than that.
That's it.
That's it. And unfortunately, only an hour. So, Dr. Kwon, it's been an absolute privilege to talk to you this afternoon. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll look forward to the next episode. So, thanks everybody.